Overindulging during the holidays, you're human. But should you go right into a fast or a detox or a cleanse? Today, I'm going to talk about that and why you might want to consider doing that or why you might not want to consider doing that. And this comes from years of experience with clients all over the world, with people of all ages, of all different health backgrounds. So I hope that there's a lot in this video for you, that you gain something out of it. Now, this is a live stream I did over on Instagram and wanted to share it here with my YouTube family. You're going to notice I'm talking about a contest here on this video, which obviously doesn't pertain to my YouTube family, but I'm going to offer a contest similar to the one I did on Instagram. If you're watching this within the first 24 hours, I'm going to run the same exact contest with you all. So anyone who buys my solstice bundle between December the 28th and December the 29th, I'll put a link for that in the show notes and in the pinned comment. I'm going to upgrade you to my bundle with nutrition, exercise, and the leptin course. So you're going to get that upgrade. And anybody who buys one of the holiday bundles in my December specials is going to get upgraded to the bundle of all of my courses. So make sure if you get one of those bundles, you're going to be entered automatically into that contest. It's between December 28th and 29th. You can also comment in the YouTube comments below if you bought one, and that'll give you an extra point into the contest. And then in the YouTube comments, I'm going to announce the winner, and I'm also going to announce the winner via email. So if you're watching this and you're like, oh, this is a really good contest, I want to get in on it, my YouTube family will be included in on this contest. That will end the afternoon of December 29th, and I'll send out the email in a YouTube comment as well as via email. So make sure if you're entering the contest, know that that's how you're going to be notified of winning. I also want to make one more quick announcement before I show you this live stream. I'm doing something I've never done before in January of 2024, and that is helping health coaches and practitioners learn how to do what I do, essentially, of how to put a course out online, how to get your message out there to the right people and build something online. I'm going to do this starting in January. If you're interested, I'm going to put an interest link in the pinned comment and in the show notes. All you got to do is just fill your email in there. And I'm going to be in touch with a free Zoom information session so you can get more information about it. And I'll tell you more about the course then. But I'm not going to heavily push it here because I know most people watching are not coaches or practitioners, but I want to drop that in there before we get started. All right, without me talking more, let's go ahead and jump into this live stream. Thank you so much for watching. I hope the information is helpful and valuable to you, especially as you step into 2024. Hello, happy end of the year. We're in that kind of strange week between Christmas and New Year's, and I've been getting a lot of questions from people about fasting. A lot of people are starting to think about New Year's resolutions, and people have been overindulging. And so I've been getting a ton of questions about fasting in my private membership group, as well as just here on Instagram, direct messages, comments, all of that. So I thought it'd be fun to just do a quick little live stream to talk about this whole topic of fasting. And someone just already commented and said, good idea. And it actually can be a good idea for some people to fast in the new year. Absolutely. So I'm going to talk about both ends of the spectrum. Good idea, bad idea. How do you know this is for you? How do you know it's not for you? So welcome everyone. Am I fasting now? I do some fasting now, and I'll talk about why and how I fast now. A little different. I was very anti-fasting for a little bit of time because I just completely wrecked myself. And like everything, I think we have to find our balance, and we have to find what works best for us. And for me, talking with tons of people around the world, hearing their experience, listening to people, to their experience, that's really formed a lot of my views around fasting. So thanks everybody for tuning in. A couple quick announcements while I'm waiting for more people to pop onto the live stream. The first one is that nothing that I'm saying is medical advice by any way, shape, or form. It is precisely for just educational content, right? Just like, let's figure out what's best for me. So none of this is medical advice at all. The other I have two more announcements while I'm still waiting for people to come on. The second one is that I'm going to be giving away during this live stream
two upgrades. So I said I was only going to do my solstice bundle, which is 5 courses in one bundle. It's like a ridiculous discount. I'm still running the solstice bundle. So for one person that buys the solstice bundle while I'm doing this live stream, I'm going to upgrade you to my deluxe holiday bundle that's worth $500, actually $529. So I'm going to upgrade one person. And then if you buy one of my holiday bundles during this live stream, I'm going to upgrade you to the bundle of all of my courses that is worth $1,200. So anybody watching the live stream, I'm going to look periodically to see if any payments come through. If nobody buys anything, then it's all good. So let's talk about this fasting business. And I did put some notes up here just to keep myself on track. Now, again, fasting, I think it actually has some amazing benefits. And I did some fasting to prepare for pregnancy, believe it or not. I don't think if you're preparing for pregnancy, you should fast the 2 months leading up to conception. You really 2 to 3 months need to be focusing on increasing your nutrients profile. So really fortifying your body with as much nutrients as you can if you're on a pre-pregnancy journey. But to kind of reverse age my cells, to improve my mitochondrial function, autophagy, apoptosis, those are really 2 important things that fasting can help to allow your body to do. I did do some 72-hour, 48-hour fasts. I even did a dry fast, which that's one I really don't recommend people do unless they are really have like built up their fasting muscles. But I did do those, and I think that was another thing that was helpful to kind of reverse age my cells a bit. And I have people that have dealt with cancer and these like severe mitochondrial diseases, because cancer is a mitochondrial disorder. And I think fasting is great for those people. So again, before I even talk about fasting a lot, I just want to say that I think it can be really helpful. There's a dark side of fasting though, that I think a lot of people experience. If you're a leptin resistant, which a lot of people are. So, there's that study that basically showed 88% of people are metabolically unhealthy. They met one of 5 metabolic markers that showed they were metabolically unhealthy. Now, those people eventually should do some fasting, absolutely. But right off the bat, if you're trying to change your lifestyle, if you're going from a lifestyle where you're eating frequently, where you're, not having a lot of proper nutrients in your body, you're metabolically inflexible, number 1, you have a poor nutrient status, is it a good idea for you, because you're feeling bad because you've been overindulging and eating junk, to start fasting right away? I think it's actually a pretty bad idea, and it can absolutely backfire. So if you're like really metabolically unhealthy, for you to jump into a water fast, or a water fast is the only kind of fast I really like. I don't like, and you can do fat fasting. I know Becky's on here, Becky Niles, she does fat fasting quite a bit. I'm just a water fast person. I think it's better. I don't put anything in my body besides water. Dry fasting is freaking amazing, but it is dangerous if your fasting muscle is not strong. So I don't recommend that as like a general thing. But people who really need to be careful with fasting, number 1, you're not metabolically flexible. You're eating multiple times a day. Your body has no idea how to run on ketones, period. So those are the people I'm going to say you can eventually fast, but we need to reverse your metabolic issues. We need to get you away from this metabolic inflexibility, essentially. I don't take any supplements when I'm fasting. Becky, she's on here. She says, I just got done with a 60+ hour fat fast. So if you want a fat fast, she's your lady. And I think that one can be a little bit more gentle for people who are metabolically inflexible, but still, I've worked with so many people that have tried. Again, they go, and I've done it before, right? I see all this stuff. I feel bad, like, I don't feel bad now, I feel great now. But in the past, I have felt really bad, felt really guilty after the holidays, and it's really super enticing to find someone who's doing a detox or a cleanse or a fast, and say, I'm gonna do this, and you muscle in there, you do it, and you feel horrible. I have had people get sick because their nutrient status is super poor. Their drainage pathways are not open, so they have really poor redox. There's a saying that we use in the quantum circadian world, and that's redox before detox. So you really want to support your mitochondria, make sure your drainage pathways are open before you're fasting. So that looks like good circadian rhythms, proper light signals on your eyes, your skin, and being leptin sensitive. So what does it mean to be a leptin sensitive? It means that you can trust your hunger signals. It means you're not eating 20 times a day. It means you can skip dinner occasionally and it's not the end of the world. You don't feel like you're dying. And you can burn both glucose for energy and ketones for energy. Your body can kind of effortlessly switch back. And once you get to that stage, that's when I'm going to say there are really, really great cellular benefits for you to do some fasting. Let's see, I tried after holidays and felt bad, need to get back to ketosis first. So that's exactly, Larissa just commented. I think it's important if you're going to fast that your body knows and understands how to burn ketones for energy, because again, you're gonna try to do this big metabolic switch. You're gonna feel absolutely terrible. It's gonna take all the minerals out of your body. Your detox pathways are not properly open, more than likely, and you could end up getting sick and it backfiring. Let me scroll up to some of these other comments. Welcome everybody who is joining. I think I already answered that one about, so if I am gonna do a fast, and just on the daily basis, I'm always putting minerals back into my water. I think drinking, I jumped into a comment thread. Someone was talking about water yesterday and it got very interesting. I think water should be filtered, clean, and minerals added back in, and then structure, right? So if I'm going to do a fast, I'm going to have really amazing water. I'm going to have really amazing water anyway, because that's just how I feel my best. But the only supplements I'm really going to recommend people take during fasting would be minerals. I think those are really, really important. If you want to kick things up a notch, you could do some digestive enzymes. Now, I do utilize digestive enzymes if I've overindulged and I feel bad, like I ate something that my body's not really used to. I will utilize digestive enzymes, and they could be a huge lifesaver. And the ones I use are Healthy Gut, Holozyme, and I think my discount code Yogi Holo, YOGIHOLO, should still work. I haven't checked it in a while, but those things are great to have on hand. But you can use enzymes systemically, and it can help if you're doing a fast to kind of speed the process up a little bit, but definitely not 100% necessary. How taking exogenous ketones impacts fasting. I think it can help some people, especially if they're not used to burning ketones for fuel, if you're going to use that during a fast. But ideally for a fast, you want to just have water. You don't want to be drinking a bunch of caffeine. You don't want to be adding a bunch of stuff. You want your body to really, really get into fasting. Is leptin the only marker to help determine if you're metabolically flexible? No, definitely not. You can measure your blood glucose and your ketones. Those are other ways that you can measure to see if you're metabolically flexible. Leptin is a master circadian signaling hormone, so it's going to impact your body's ability to switch back and forth between ketones and glucose. It's going to impact your blood sugar. It's going to impact your insulin. So that's why I talk about it so much, because it's kind of like a top-down approach. But if there's other things you're looking to measure, you can check your blood sugar before and after meals. You can check your ketones to see if your body actually even makes any ketones at all. You can use like a blood meter. That can be super helpful. How do I filter my water? So I have on my profile a highlight that's water, and we have a Spring Aqua system. Pretty pricey, I will say that. So you can also get a water distiller, an AquaTrue water purifier. That's an RO system. I think that's a pretty decent one. Berkey is right now being sued, apparently. I've never bought a Berkey. I know a lot of people that have them. My friend Dr. Rimka has a Berkey, and she was pretty upset when she saw the lawsuit, so I don't recommend Berkey anymore. But yeah, I use a if I don't have my spring aqua system available, I'm gonna go for reverse osmosis or distilled water, and then I'm always gonna add minerals back in. I use Quinton, Quinton, hypertonic minerals for everyday use. And I use isotonic minerals if I feel like I'm coming down with something or I need to get my body more into a parasympathetic state. I love the isotonic. The isotonic got me through my first trimester of pregnancy when I just was having headaches and didn't feel well because I was losing a lot of minerals. So those are the steps. And then if you want to go a step further, you can structure your water. There's a lot of cool structuring devices. I use the Analemma wand. The Spring Aqua will structure the water right out of the faucet and add hydrogen. And then hydrogen is step 4. I actually just bought a Holy Hydrogen machine to try. I've heard so much great stuff about them. I finally just took the plunge and bought that last week, so it's not here yet. So I will report back on how I like that Holy Hydrogen machine. I've been watching some of Greg the Hydrogen Man's video. I'm going to have him on my YouTube and my podcast soon to talk about hydrogen because I think that that's a really, really fascinating topic. Let me see some of these questions. I have more in my notes to talk about. So I answered that. The minerals in water that I use are Quinton. My friend Dr. Sarah Pugh, she stayed here with me for 5 or 6 weeks, stayed here in my house, and I had some Omni Blue Ocean minerals. You can get those on Amazon. She loved them. I hate them. I think they taste terrible. But Dr. Sarah, we have all these, we did all this like water making. It's really fun. Like food is interesting, but then when you kind of like get the food thing, you start studying water, and that's like the next level. I am obsessed with water and understanding water because there's just like literally this much that we know and understand about it. So Dr. Sarah was making a lot of different water mixtures here, and she used the Omni Blue Ocean minerals, and she loves them. So that's another source that you can try for trace minerals, and they are less expensive. You can also make your own Soleil water, but I do think water needs to be remineralized. And you can structure your water with, like I said, I use an Analemma wand. My code there I think is Sarah in all caps. That's a good way. You can also just use sunlight or moonlight or intention, because that's like the free and easy way to structure your water. That's the ultimate. Let's see. I'm just looking through some of these to make sure I haven't missed any comments. Let's see. Yeah, if you're breastfeeding, I don't recommend fasting, especially. Okay. I just canceled my husband's call. If you're pregnant or breastfeeding, don't fast. It's just not a good idea. You burn a lot of calories and you're running through a lot of minerals when you're pregnant or breastfeeding. So don't do it. Wait until you're done. Definitely wait until you're done. Let me make sure I haven't missed any comments. Okay, I'm good. All right, so the other, do I think grounding sheets work? I've talked about this on other live streams before. I don't like them. Do they work? Maybe they do, but I don't like them just overall. Having clients having used them, number one, a lot of them are vinyl, which is just really uncomfortable to sleep on. Number two, I've seen a lot of people have negative effects of using these grounding sheets where they actually feel worse. They have less energy. So, and Dr. Sarah, again, I just mentioned her staying with me for 5 or 6 weeks. She stayed on my ground floor basement level of the house, which is really the best place to sleep, closest to the earth. And she ran a grounding rod out into the yard and put sheets on the bed and slept on the grounded sheets. Felt terrible. Just absolutely felt terrible. And so what did Sarah do? Not me, Dr. Sarah, she slept out in my yard. She pitched a tent underneath the pine trees. We have a lot of great pine trees back there. She pitched a tent underneath the pine trees because she tried the grounding sheets for 3 nights and she felt terrible, like just didn't sleep well. And I've had people have this, like, right? So there's a lot of great studies out there, but how does your body actually feel when you implement these things? Just kind of like with red light therapy. There's a lot of great studies out there, but then when you actually see people implement stuff with red light therapy, you do it on yourself, that's the real test of things. And yeah, Christine, she's in my group. She says 3 weeks on a grounding mat felt worse, and not a detox kind of feel bad. So yeah, I've had this happen with a ton of people. So Intuition Physician is a great company. Yeah, and someone wants to know about grounding on the snow. Yeah, you can absolutely ground in the snow. Becky, who's on the live stream here, she grounds in snow. My friend Carrie Bennett, who we have a great podcast together called Quantum Conversations, where we break down a lot of these complex topics about quantum biology and circadian biology for the everyday person who just wants to understand, like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do for my health? She lives up in Michigan where there's tons of snow. She walks outside barefoot in the snow. Now, if you're not experienced at this and you're not cold adapted, it's like fasting. Cold and fasting are similar in that they are stressors that can be really great for your body, but you have to build up to it. You have to build up to cold therapy. You can't just go out in the snow and roll around in the snow if you are not used to it. If you've been used to sitting by a fire and being in the heat all day, I'm not going to tell you to go roll around in the snow. That's a really bad idea. Or jump into a cold plunge. That's a really bad idea. So it's something you want to build up to. Fasting is the same way. So getting back to the topic, number one, if someone comes to me and they're really leptin resistant, what does this mean if you're leptin resistant? It means that the stored energy on your body and your brain, so that could be stored body fat and it could be also stored glucose in your liver, they're not communicating. Every single night between midnight and 2 a.m., this is why sleep is such a huge part of healing, why sleep is such a huge part of just hormonal health. Melatonin is actually a reproductive hormone, believe it or not. If you look into the literature, it's a crucial reproductive hormone. So leptin is supposed to dock to the hypothalamus every night between midnight and 2 a.m. to give your body a report of how much stored energy is on your body. When you're leptin resistant, that's not happening. And your brain has no idea how much body fat it actually has. When you do fasting and you're already leptin resistant, now some people are going to argue with me and say you should fast if you're leptin resistant because it's going to drop those serum leptin levels down, right? What it can actually do is backfire big time, right? And further dysregulate that communication pathway between the stored energy on your body and your brain. So that's why all the things I teach, I have a ton of free resources on my website at www.sarahkleinerwellness.com. I have, I think, like 5 different free ebooks, as well as all my courses. I have a bunch of courses about leptin and becoming leptin sensitive. All of these things are going to be centered around that circadian rhythm and reestablishing that communication pathway between your body and your brain. Okay, so just to let you all know, I haven't seen anything come through, and that's fine because it's a weird week. Anybody watching the live stream, if you purchase my Solstice bundle, which I said I was going to not continue with a week ago, but it's still available, it's in my bio. I'm going to upgrade one person that buys the Solstice bundle during the live stream. I've got my laptop open to my $500 bundle that's got my exercise, nutrition, and leptin course. And then if you buy one of the holiday bundles during the live stream, I'm going to upgrade you to the bundle of all my courses that's worth like $1,300. So just throwing it out there. If no takers are out there, that's fine too. But I just want to offer that as a fun little holiday live stream giveaway contest thing. So that's the thing. And someone asked, how do you prepare safely for fasting? Again, it's about reestablishing that communication pathway between the stored energy on your body and your brain. And that's all of what I teach, right? I have the free ebooks and then I've got my courses. But essentially, your circadian rhythms need to be dialed in. If you have crappy circadian rhythms, number one, that download of energy information between leptin and the brain cannot happen. If you have crappy sleep, if your circadian rhythms are off, can't happen. So that's number one. Number two is you need proper protein signaling, and you have to stop eating all the time. This is not a popular opinion, but snacking is going to completely make you even more leptin resistant. So there's always a happy medium. You don't want to go into these extreme fasts if you're leptin resistant, and you don't want to be snacking all day if you're leptin resistant. You want to be grazing all day and eating all day and constantly stimulating leptin. So it's a Goldilocks thing, right? You got to find the right thing. So for most people coming to me that are, number one, metabolically inflexible, they cannot make ketones, They don't make ketones at all, right? Or if they do, it's like very, very small amount. I'm gonna try to get those people, again, number one, get their circadian rhythms dialed in. Number two, work on that meal timing, protein amounts, and reestablishing that signaling. How do I feel about 4 to 5 meals, but with bioavailable protein and fat? It's, so the holiday bundle, the solstice bundle is at the very top link in my bio. If you go to my bio, it says solstice bundle, only available for 48 hours. That's the solstice bundle. And then the holiday bundles are under my December specials. So if you buy one of my December special holiday bundles, I'm gonna upgrade one person on the live stream to the bundle of all my courses. If you buy the solstice bundle, I'm gonna upgrade one person to the holiday bundle. That's like $500 bundle. So let me go back to that question. So with 4 to 5 meals a day with bioavailable protein and fat, for most people, I'm gonna say no, that's too much eating. Still too much stimulation of leptin and insulin, and that's gonna completely continue to confuse the body, right? But if you're an athlete, if you are extremely active and your body is just going and burning energy like crazy, okay, that's a different story. So this is why with my leptin course and any of the bundles that you get, like any of the bundles that include the leptin reset, you're gonna get a month of membership in my private membership group. So you can ask questions like this and we can help you completely customize things. I had a lady today that she's like, I think I've been under eating protein. Is this a problem, right? And so that's when I ask more questions, right? Like, how much protein are you eating? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you underweight? Are you trying to gain, so there's questions people will ask like that, like, is eating 4 to 5 meals a day okay? As a general rule, I'm gonna say no. Ideally, you wanna have 3 meals, and then some people during the winter time, they go down to 2 meals because it's more of a time for scarcity. How to have a healthy circadian rhythms and leptin response while exclusively breastfeeding, including overnight. So I was able to lose all the baby weight and get things back on track breastfeeding, my son waking me up. He's now older, so he sleeps through the night most of the time. But I've been able to maintain my circadian health and leptin sensitivity through all of that. I had to eat more. You have to eat more when you're breastfeeding, so don't try to undereat. And blue blockers, you wear those at night. You don't pick up your phone after 9 p.m. I know that's a hard one for breastfeeding moms. Don't pick up your phone. Don't turn on the lights. Keep things low, and you keep this. It's darkness that's important for us to have at night. So darkness, circadian friendly, like red night lights, blue blockers, those types of things. And then don't stress. It's breastfeeding and having a baby is like a temporary thing. Babies don't keep is a saying that I'm like, and my son's 15 months old, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and he's saying no and throwing tantrums and acting like a full-blown toddler, and I'm like, it goes by so fast. And don't stress out and freak out about all this stuff. Pregnancy and breastfeeding are semi-states of leptin resistance. For a reason, because you're supporting a human being. So don't give yourself a hard time about all this and do your best. I have the course called Circadian Health for Busy Moms that really can help you go through how to maintain your circadian rhythms for yourself and for your baby as you go through this time period. Does caffeine count as a meal? No, absolutely not. And I recommend people that are doing coffee for breakfast to stop doing that, because again, you're elevating your cortisol. So your master hormones are cortisol, leptin, and melatonin. These are the 3 hormones that I really have people focus on because they all impact all the downstream hormones. As I mentioned earlier, melatonin is a reproductive hormone. It's essential if you're trying to improve your fertility or hormone balance, period. That's if you want to get pregnant or if you're beginning to have hot flashes and perimenopause symptoms and menopause symptoms. Getting that cortisol and melatonin regulated and leptin, crucial for hormone balance, right? And for men too, right? Men's hormones are not quite as complicated as women, but it's still important for men to get this cortisol, melatonin, and leptin to be in a really good spot. So everything you do is amazing. Thank you for all of your knowledge and example. Oh, thank you. If I am underweight, should I make more than 3 meals a day? I would try to eat more at those 3 meals. Honestly, I would increase my protein and fat. And I wouldn't necessarily even really be afraid of whole food carbohydrates if I was really underweight. And I do have a protocol, my leptin program, for people with low leptin. But if you're underweight, then I would still try to stick to those 3 meals a day, because again, there's a low leptin is also leptin resistant. So there's communication is not happening properly. I would just try to eat more at those 3 meals. And if you need to add another one, then you can. But I would try to do the 3 meals if you can. Let me scroll, see these comments. I know, Becky says Baby J should still be a baby. That's my baby. He's so big. I lost all hunger signals after COVID 1 year ago. How do I know how much, when, what to eat if I'm not connected to these signals? I'm 41 and would like to have a baby. So I would definitely start with light. Start with your light signals. And I know it sounds like, oh my gosh, light, this one of these light people. Yes, I'm a light person. I used to be a food person. I was all about the food until I did the food. I did the food perfectly, right? And I still was not having regulated hormones. I still was not having good sleep. I still had lingering issues. So then I turned to light. And every single cell and organ system in your body has a circadian clock in front of it. So if you have poor circadian health, if your light signals are off, guess what's not going to work properly? Your hormones, your satiety, your appetite, all that stuff is still going to be off. You can actually have elevated insulin and cortisol from blue light alone. Blue light alone, believe it or not, there is a ton of scientific research out there to back that up. So if I was somebody that didn't have hunger signals and I wanted to improve my hormone balance, the first thing I would do would be work on my light environment. And then I would start by making sure you're getting enough protein at each meal. And I would look at something like, I would definitely look at my 21-day leptin program to help you with that, and to join my private group where we can help you a little bit more in there, because there's a lot of stuff that we can do. It's hard for me to answer that on a live stream because there's a lot of things I would have you do, but I would definitely start with your circadian health, your light environment, your light signals, because those things can actually make a huge difference when it comes to your appetite, believe it or not, and absolutely your hormones. Can you talk a little bit about ADHD meds and cortisol? I've heard multiple doctors say there's no impact, but seems wild. A lot of doctors say that a lot of meds don't have impact on our hormones and endocrine system and all. Yes, everything you put in your body is going to have some sort of an impact or some sort of a resonance or cause some sort of chaos, right? So what happens when I take a certain medication might be different than what happens when you take a certain medication because of that resonance effect. So if you're taking a medication, but be it ADHD meds or whatever, you feel your cortisol surging, that's probably happening. It's probably legitimately happening. Because again, there's a resonance effect that happens with everything from minerals to supplements to medications. If it doesn't resonate and causes chaos in your body and confusion, then you're going to feel it. So I was told for years that the cystic acne I had on my chin that I was having to take antibiotics for because it was so painful had absolutely nothing to do with my IUD. But this was like 10 years ago. I haven't had any birth control or IUDs in like 12 years or something like that. It's been a long time. But I had an IUD and I kept on getting this really painful cystic acne, and my doctor kept saying that has nothing to do with the IUD. I went to a dermatologist finally, and the dermatologist said, that's your IUD. Get it out if you want to quit having this horrible acne. And I already had a gut feeling that it was the IUD. So guess what happened when I took the IUD out? No more hormonal cystic acne. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Megan. She says, inspired by your work and love these lives. Let's see. Sheila says, yes, same. I do perfect food stuff, and definitely, yeah, commit to the light. I would absolutely consider that if you're doing all the things with food correctly. And guess what's going to make fasting a heck of a lot easier? This is one other thing I had. Awesome. So I have one person that bought a holiday bundle. So if nobody else buys a holiday bundle, this person is going to get upgraded to a bundle of all my courses. So if you're just tuning in, I'm going to upgrade one person who buys the solstice bundle to a holiday bundle. And then this person, if you buy one of my holiday bundles, which are under my December specials, I'm going to upgrade one person to a bundle of all my courses. So there's one person. So all right, sorry. I should have put my phone on Do Not Disturb, but no one ever calls me. Why are people calling me right now? Why is it yeah, so committing to the light is super important. And again, it's going to make your fasting easier if you do want to fast. Dr. Alexander Wunsch is very fascinating work. When I say that we're really only supposed to get 1/3 of our energy from, am I still on?
Hi, good afternoon. This is Rubina from the Katie Beckett Medicaid office.
Am I still here? Sorry, I pressed a weird button. And then it took me off, but now I'm back. So what I was going to say, Alexander Wunsch, he talks a lot about how we're really only supposed to get a small amount of our energy from food. The rest of our energy from our body, and he puts in a crazy number, like 90% of our energy is actually supposed to come from light and from gathering electrons, from pulling energy into our body that way. But if you say that, people are going to freak out. Like, what? So when it comes to fasting, again, another thing that you can do that's really important is make sure your light signals are correct. That's going to help you with your hunger, with all of those things. And then make sure you're outside grounding. Make sure you're outside getting sun exposure on your skin. That is also another way that your body actually gets energy. Let me go back to some of these questions. Thank you everybody for joining. Okay, dumb question. When should you wear the yellow blue blockers if just in your house during the day with overhead lighting? I mean, if you're in your house, like I'm in my house, I have no overhead lights on. I've got a fire on, and I've got a lot of windows in my house. That's one thing. And I have a window cracked open, and my phone screen is on red. So if you can control not having on overhead lights, if you can just use natural light from your window, fire, or a low Kelvin bulb, I think that's really the best thing to do. But if you are going to have your overhead lights on in a building or you're inside somewhere, I would wear yellow. So if I'm going to go, like I can't go to Target anymore. Last time I went to Target, I got so nauseous, and I don't know if it was all the scents or it was just the lights overhead that were just blaring down on me. But I had to put on my yellow. I went to go get a birthday present last minute for my niece. This was way back in September because I don't typically go to Target, but I had to do it last minute. Had to put on my yellow blue blockers because I just felt like viscerally ill from the lights and the scents and everything. So I definitely recommend, if you're going to be underneath a lot of fluorescent lights, to wear some yellow blue blockers, with the caveat that you should definitely take time to go outside, take breaks. Don't wear blue blockers all day. Don't wear the yellow blue blockers all day because it will kind of take your cortisol levels down. You don't want to have like flatlined low cortisol during the day. You want it to come up, kind of rising with the sun, and then go down as the day goes on. But you don't want to just like suppress it all day. How do you suggest supplementing with light when waking up before the sun? If any, honestly, the best case scenario, and I know I have people that live in these extreme northern latitudes where it's a really dark time of year right now, sun's not coming up till like 8 or 9. I mean, ideally, if you can keep things restful and restorative and wear blue blockers before sunrise, that's going to be the best thing for your hormones, right? And then get outside and see the natural light. Even when it's cloudy or rainy, 80% of the UV light can get through those clouds. You're still getting red and near infrared. You're still getting all the signals that your body needs. Even if it feels like it's cloudy and dark and gloomy, you're still getting what you need. How do I build strength without triggering my stress hormones? So it's not necessarily a horrible thing. Like, we talk a lot about cortisol. We talk a lot about how bad it is. It's not necessarily a bad thing. What's bad is if we have too much cortisol at the wrong times of day. So if you're having a ton of cortisol at night when your body is supposed to be in that rest and restore mode, that's a problem. And then building strength, you can build strength doing like time under tension type of workouts. I have a quantum exercise course with my partner, Rob Jacobs, who is absolutely amazing. And we have a whole little program in for people who have cortisol issues. We have a strength training program. None of them are high intensity interval training programs, which that's the one that really you have to be careful with cortisol. But on the whole, weight training and building strength, you can do that without making your cortisol go crazy. And yeah, somebody says thumbs down to the IUDs. I know spam calls are the worst. I'm like, why are you guys calling me? I'm scrolling through tips for living in New England, constant gray and wet. Embrace the darkness and embrace the cold. And I know it's like, oh, that's not fun. But in the winter time, our bodies are really meant to go into this more restorative scarcity mode, especially if you're a northern haplotype. So I'm an H1. My husband's also an H1 randomly. That means my maternal mitochondrial DNA is from like Northern Europe. And so my body is more adapted to being cold and being in darkness. And so a lot of us have these repair mechanisms that we never turn on during the winter, and fasting can absolutely be a part of that when you become metabolically healthy. It absolutely can be helpful. So I would say if you're in the cold, dark places, embrace the cold, embrace the dark. And something like red light therapy is very, very, very helpful. Does wearing contact lenses affect sunlight absorption? Yes, it can. Absolutely can. Go through some of these. What is best to eat for breakfast? Bioavailable protein and fat, something that stabilizes your blood sugar, very important. So a lot of people will say, I'm going to eat breakfast, but they start it with like oatmeal or toast, or their blood sugar is not stabilized and it goes all over the place all day, and that causes more leptin issues, causes more insulin issues, more blood sugar issues. And so I have a list of free breakfast ideas, and you can take the dairy out, you can sub in different meats, you can change things around. Not all of them have eggs in the recipe, so I've got that linked in my bio, and it's a list of like 12 different breakfast ideas and recipes. Yes, and if you're in the cold, dark winter, I do have a course called Winter is Coming, and it's in my solstice bundle. So that solstice bundle, I was going to take it down, and I still haven't taken it down yet. It's $99, and it has 5 courses in it. One of those courses is the Winter is Coming course, that can really help you embrace the winter and become more healthy and metabolically flexible during the winter. And I know I keep saying it, but one person that buys the solstice bundle, if anyone does during the live stream, I'm going to upgrade you to a course a bundle that has my exercise course, leptin course, and the nutrition course. Let's see. Solstice bundle is the top link in my bio. Yeah, and contact lenses, you want to not wear those when you're trying to get your morning light signals. So put on glasses, go find somewhere, sit somewhere, be safe. Don't try to go out on walks with no glasses if you're blind as a bat and run into stuff and hurt yourself. But ideally, you're going to take your contact lenses or glasses off for bits of time to get those natural light signals in your eyes. What if you suspect you have more than one haplotype? So DNA123me.com, I know a lot of people don't necessarily want to run that test, but that's the easiest way to do it. And it'll tell you they call it haplogroup. It'll tell you your haplotype, haplogroup, and it'll show it to you on a map, whether you're north or south of the equator. And Dr. Doug Wallace is the researcher that I point people towards that really, really talk about the haplogroup, haplotype stuff, and why it's important, how it works, all that stuff. Where can I get these blue blockers and red lights? I just found you and I'm intrigued. So in my bio, I have the link to the red light panel that I use, that I love. I've got one in the bathroom. I have like 4 red light panels because my whole family uses them and loves them. And my blue blockers are in my bio also. I also have a ton of free resources on my website that talk about how to use blue blockers, all of that stuff. If you have mixed ethnicities, it's your mother's mitochondria. So think about your maternal line. That's going to determine your haplotype, is your mother's line. So whatever ethnicity your mother was, and if she can trace that back, that is the one. Let's see. I'm at work when the sun comes up and I wear contacts. Can you take a light break, right? So can you step outside take your contacts out for a second and just get a couple minutes of sunshine. Like so many people take smoke breaks and, I always tell people, can you take a light break and just get those natural light signals? That's going to be helpful. Let's see. Christine says ancestry DNA does not show haplogroup, but it can be inferred from, maternal results. Yep. Okay, so I am going to refresh this and see, and then pull up my notes to make sure, because there were a couple more things I wanted to mention about fasting, because this live stream is about fasting. Okay, I have 2 people that bought the solstice bundle, so one of those people, I'm going to upgrade you to the bundle of exercise, nutrition, and leptin. And then I have 1 person so far that has bought a holiday bundle. That's in my December bundles. And I'm gonna, if no one else buys a holiday bundle, I'm gonna upgrade this person to the bundle of all of my courses. So I'm doing a little contest here as I do this live stream. So the other thing, so I've talked about leptin resistance and fasting. So if you're just joining, I will have this posted on my Instagram page. I'm also gonna post it up on YouTube so people can watch it a little bit easier. But I've so sorry, I need to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, but I don't want to take myself off the live stream. So leptin resistance and fasting, that's something you want to look out for. And then nutrient status, you want to make sure that you have a really good nutrient status, right? So you don't want to go into a place where you're depleted and do more fasting. So if you've been eating crap, standard American diet or standard diet wherever you live, if you've been eating like crap, you're metabolically inflexible, probably don't want to do fasting right off the bat, in my opinion, because you don't have good nutrient status, you don't have good mineral status, and you're metabolically inflexible. So what's going to happen is you're going to feel like complete crap and you're going to make all of that stuff worse. So we want to work on those things first before you do fasting. And then I do think once we work on your leptin resistance and your nutrient and mineral status, get that communication pathway with the stored energy on your body and your brain reestablished, I think fasting can be absolutely great. I think it can be really wonderful and have a lot of wonderful benefits, especially this time of year during winter when we're supposed to experience more scarcity, more darkness, make more melatonin. It's a great time to do a little bit more fasting. The other thing I want to talk about with fasting is that I don't think it's a great thing to do as a weight loss tool. Again, I know I'm going to get a lot of people angry with me for saying this. If you have a weight problem, a lot of the time you need to reestablish again that leptin signaling because you're leptin resistant. So there's no communication happening between this, there's poor communication happening between stored energy on your body and your brain. And you need to work on your, I don't want to say relationship with food, more of your personal issues around food and why are you overeating? What's going on? What are you trying to deal with? Is there some sort of a trauma or a stress that is causing you to eat more than you need to eat, right? Again, it's hormonal as well, so leptin comes into play big time. So those things need to be worked on, and I've seen a lot of people use fasting as a weight loss tool, and perhaps they lose a bunch of weight, but what always happens, 9 times out of 10, maybe even more than that, is that people struggle to maintain their weight. They gain a bunch back, they go on a huge rebound, and they never really learn, number one, they never really get healthy leptin levels. They can make them really falsely low, and so your body thinks it's dying and it's starving all the time, and you're like gonna overeat. And then 2, you don't have healthy habits around food and around eating. And that's a hard one because a lot of people want the quick fix, and we're heading into a new year, and so a lot of people are like, I'm ready to just get this weight off. I'm ready to do something drastic. I've read about fasting and water fasting. I've got all, all the books and all the things. And then they do it. Again, you may lose a bunch of weight initially, but you're not getting a healthy relationship with yourself. Why you're overeating in the first place. Why is that happening? Is there nervous system dysregulation from stress or trauma? A hormonal issue a lot of the time. Leptin resistance is at play. You're not regulating your hormones when you're doing that. You're kind of pushing them down the other way. And so can you lose weight with fasting? Sure. Is it the best thing to do for weight loss? I I clinically haven't seen that. And for myself, I haven't seen that. Now, I will say, I will skip dinner now. I don't fast over, like 20 hours typically. But I'll occasionally skip dinner just because it's winter, I'm not hungry, I'll get busy, and I'm like, I don't need to eat. But I'm very leptin sensitive, and so I can do that. I can get away with it, and it doesn't cause huge problems. Let's see if I missed a question. What if you were doing good for 90 days and then off for 2 weeks? Should I fast? I would not jump right into a fast. Now, the good news is you spent that 90 days really establishing some good healthy habits and getting things back on track. I would go 2 to 3 weeks of like, really, are you getting back into what you were doing in those 90 days, and then maybe do a fast after that. Because if you've been doing well for 90 days, you've probably built some fasting muscles, you've probably gotten some metabolic flexibility in there. But I would not just jump right into it if you've been like overindulging and you're like, screw it, I'm just going to just do a fast, And then like I said, a lot of people might disagree with me. What does overeating during the holidays while leptin sensitive look like? So for me, and this is me again, and a lot of people I've worked with, is that you can have a few things that you enjoy during the holidays. And I probably years ago would have said that's not possible because I had a really bad relationship with food. I was using it to deal with a lot of emotional stuff going on. I wasn't doing the right work for myself emotionally. So when I would have a treat, quote unquote, or something I enjoyed, I would go overboard, and it would just be like, I would start eating and I wouldn't stop until I was sick. So that doesn't happen anymore. Now that I'm leptin sensitive and I have a really good relationship with light, I have really healthy light signals, I can trust my hunger signals, all that stuff, right? So now what that looks like is if I have something I enjoy during the holidays, a meal or maybe a dessert, I have it and I'm done. And I might not eat anything else the rest of the day. I might have that at lunchtime or early afternoon. I might not eat anything the rest of the day if I'm not hungry, especially if I'm not hungry, right? But I just go back the next morning, have my breakfast, do sunrise, do all the things that I normally do. And so it doesn't throw me off, and I don't go into a binge like I used to when I was really leptin resistant and I had a bad relationship with myself. That is not something that I really do anymore, right? So I hope that answers the question. And you might not be there. You may be somebody that if you have one cookie, you want to have 15. So maybe you should not have the one cookie until you work on the other things. Does regular intermittent fasting have any benefit aside from possible weight loss, or just periodically doing longer water fast? I think there are some benefits from doing some intermittent fasting. Absolutely. And I think it's good for your gut. I think it's good for your brain. I think it's great. The problem that people fall into is that they try to just do the same fasting routine 365 days a year. Your body's not meant to go into this kind of more of a scarcity mode. Wintertime, we were actually supposed to be more in a scarcity mode. It's more dark, it's more cold. We're supposed to heal, rest, and repair. So it's more appropriate for us to do more of that in the wintertime and in the more of the warmer months where there's more abundance of food and sunlight. Eat a little bit more. So the problem that I have with a lot of intermittent fasting is that people try to do the same routine all the time, 365 days a year. Then they start having issues with their cortisol, their adrenals, their hormones, and that's the problem. So I think pulsing it in and out, taking breaks, and changing things up is really, really, really helpful. What about the idea of occasional fasting for helping to promote neurological rest and resetting hunger cues? Again, get the basics down. Spend 4 to 6 weeks becoming leptin sensitive, restoring your nutrient status, mineral status, maybe a little bit longer if you're extremely dysregulated, and then sure, absolutely. I think that can be really, really helpful for people, but you have to get the basics down. Absolutely. Let's see. Oh, thank you very, very much for that very sweet comment, Jerry. And I hope this is helpful. Yeah. And again, you got to do what's right for you. Let me see if I have anything else on this list. Yeah, I mean, just with cortisol issues, because a lot of people, again, they talk about cortisol and they're scared of cortisol. Cortisol's not necessarily bad, but what happens is if we have too much cortisol at the wrong time. And so number one, if you try to go from a high carb diet and eating 6 times a day to a low carb diet and eating once or twice a day, chances are you're going to really dysregulate your cortisol even more than it's already dysregulated, and cause issues with your adrenals, and it's going to be a disaster. So you want to go into those things gradually, right? You're not going to go from 300 grams of carbs a day down to like 5. That's going to cause a lot of problems. So there's kind of a step down mode. Sorry, my daughter's running around. There's a step down mode that happens. All right, I'm going to wrap up in a second, but I want to check and see. Would you recommend changing the way you fast as a woman according to where you are in a cycle, and what would that look like? Absolutely, I would. During days 1 through 10 of your cycle, you are a lot more able to fast and for it to cause less of an issue with your hormones. Ovulation, everyone's a little different. Kind of listen to those hunger cues. After ovulation, you're, again, probably do a little bit less fasting, but you can still do it. But the week before your actual cycle comes, that's the week where I'm really cautious about having people fast and even do keto and low carb. I think that's a week where you kind of have to pulse things a little bit more. And so days 1 through 10 of the cycle, more fasting, more stressors, your body can handle it more. There's more estrogen, but you can't, you got to listen to your body. If your hormones are really, really dysregulated, if you're really leptin resistant, then just don't try to do that right off the bat. Let's see. I've been working on circadian rhythms for 4 months now. I'm wanting to add in exercise. What is the best time of day to exercise and how often per week? That's, again, like a person dependent, like how dysregulated are your hormones? What are your goals? Are you trying to build strength? I mean, I think that some movement is better than no movement at all. So the only time I don't like people exercising is in the morning, fasted at 5 o'clock in the morning. Because again, when we talk about cortisol, you want your cortisol to gradually rise in the morning, come up, and then nicely come down. If you're doing a fasted morning workout, you're getting your cortisol up way too high. And that is going to really cause issues with your adrenals and then your overall cortisol levels throughout the day. I do have a quantum exercise course with my partner, Rob Jacobs, and that's in my December specials. I think it's 30% off right now. And that's a great one if you're really trying to get back into exercise, if you need some assistance with that. All right, let me check this contest. I'm going to announce the contest winners on here. So this person that bought the nutrition and exercise holiday bundle, Milena, I'm going to upgrade you to the bundle of all of my courses. Congratulations. Check your email. I'm going to do that as soon as I come off the live stream. And then, who is this other person? Raina. She bought the Solstice bundle. I'm going to upgrade her to my nutrition, exercise, and leptin bundle. So congratulations. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll have another contest going. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope this was really helpful and gave you some ideas and tools as far as fasting goes for 2024. And I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful holiday rest of your day. And I will definitely do more live streams in the new year. And congratulations to my contest winners. And check your emails. All right, have a fantastic day.